SCP-7190. The Hollow Hare. The Easter Cult that Worships Emptiness. Part 1. The Egg in the Field. They found it just before sunrise, buried beneath the mist that curled like dead fingers across the wheat fields. Agent Caro was the first to see it, a pale shape in the tall grass. It looked like an egg. Not the plastic kind children crack open during Easter hunts, but something ancient, real, wrong. "It's breathing," he whispered. No one laughed. The object was almost 2 feet tall, its surface pale and cracked like dried bone. Veins traced patterns across it. And when they stepped closer, the field grew unnaturally silent. No birds, no wind, only the faint sound of something humming. A lullaby, soft, repeating, childlike. Here comes the hare, soft and slow, with hollow steps where children go. Caro crouched beside it. As he reached out, a thin line split open across the shell. Not a crack, a deliberate slit. From within seeped a thick, milk-colored fluid, warm and clinging like sap. Something blinked inside. An eye. Agent Heller stumbled back, nearly dropping his radio. "It's looking at us," he stammered. "There's something alive in there." And then the egg moved. Not rolled, not shifted. It pulsed, as if whatever was growing inside had recognized them, welcomed them, or worse, remembered them. They tagged it for containment under high biohazard protocol and called in a hazmat team. But long after they left the field, Caro swore he could still hear it. That lullaby, still playing, still waiting. Part 2. The Nursery Below. 2 days after containment, the egg hatched. Not in a lab, not under observation. It happened inside Site 12, during transit to the secure wing. At 3:47 a.m., the cameras caught it. The container rattled once, then split open like wet paper. Alarms didn't even have time to trigger. By the time security arrived, the van was empty. Not a drop of blood, not a single scream, just gone. Except for one thing, scratched into the wall in something that wasn't ink. Were the words, "The children are cold." A Level 4 lockdown was issued immediately. MTF New 9, the Shepherds, were deployed into the sublevels. That's when they found the door. It wasn't on any blueprint. A rusted steel hatch near sublevel B3, behind a sealed utility shaft. No one had touched it in decades, but the lock was broken. Something had come through. The air beyond the door was cold, colder than it should have been. Breath turned to mist, flashlights flickered, and radios buzzed with static. The floor descended in spirals, down into what they later called the nursery. What they found inside was not a lab. It was a room, carved into stone, with walls painted in old children's drawings, stick figures, rabbits, trees, all done in what looked like red crayon, until a closer test revealed it wasn't crayon at all. And in the center, scattered across a mold-covered crib, were bones, tiny, human. Part 3. The Hollow Children. They moved deeper into the nursery. The walls felt like they were breathing, swollen with moisture, pulsing faintly like muscle tissue just beneath the surface of stone. Agent Keller touched one and recoiled. "It's warm," he whispered, "like skin." That's when they heard the footsteps. Tiny, barefoot, multiplying. From the darkness ahead, they emerged, not running, not crawling, just walking, as if summoned by some ancient instinct. Children, or at least what looked like children. Their bodies were small and thin, but all wrong. Too elongated, arms slightly too long, heads shaved, with tight, papery skin stretched over hollow skulls. Their eyes were sewn shut with coarse thread, but they moved as if they could still see. One of them raised its head and smiled, a smile stitched wide open across the face, a mouth that never closed. The squad tried to communicate, no response. When one of the agents approached, reaching out gently, the nearest child opened its mouth and screamed. Not a normal scream. It sounded like every child crying at once, layered and distorted, echoing from every corner of the nursery. The lights blew out. The hallway behind them sealed shut with a slam of iron. In the dark, the whispering began. Voices, high-pitched, overlapping, repeating that same lullaby. Here comes the hare, soft and slow, with hollow steps where children go. And then they ran. Some didn't make it. Those who did said they never saw the children move. They were just suddenly there, at their sides, behind them, inside their heads. Art 4. Buried in fur. 3 agents made it out. 2 couldn't speak. The third, Agent Keller, was found in the mess hall hours later, curled under a table, whispering lullabies to an invisible child. After sedation, he finally spoke. "They wear him," he said. "The children. They wear the hair like a skin." What followed next was pulled from CCTV and biometric logs, though much of it has since been redacted. At 4:21 a.m., the temperature across Site 12 dropped 10 degrees. Lights in sublevel B3 went black, and something began crawling through the ventilation system. Security assumed it was an intruder. It wasn't. One camera caught a glimpse, a mass of fur, damp and matted, dragging itself across the ceiling. The fur writhed like it was full of things moving inside it. When MTF teams breached the sublevel, they found the walls lined with fur. It wasn't attached. It had grown into the stone, pulsing gently. And in the center of it all, hanging from the ceiling like a rotted marionette, was the thing. The Hollow Hare. But not alone. Its body was now filled. A dozen tiny arms bulged beneath its sagging fur. Faces, childlike, eyeless, pressed against the inner lining of its flesh, trying to peek out. It turned its stitched head toward them, and it laughed. The sound shorted out the radios. One team member began screaming, clawing at her ears until she ruptured her own eardrums. Another dropped to his knees, whispering apologies to someone named Ellie. Keller, still sedated, began humming Part 5, The Church of Hollowing Eyes. Site 12 was placed on indefinite lockdown. No one goes in, no one comes out. But the nightmares continued. Agent Keller spoke again on his final day. They pray to him, not for salvation, but for emptiness. In the following weeks, 17 missing children's cases were reopened. All of them vanished near abandoned churches, each adorned with graffiti of a hare with hollow eyes, its arms wide open, welcoming. One of those churches was located in rural Belarus. Inside, the walls were lined with drawings, childlike depictions of a rabbit bleeding from its mouth, surrounded by smiling stick figure children. A makeshift altar stood in the center, built from broken toys and animal bones. Behind it, written in chalk, "The Hollow Hare loves you." They found no living followers, only one body, a man flayed open, his skin stitched into a crude costume hung upon the cross. Back at Site 12, Foundation linguists decrypted the chant heard during the incident. It was a prayer, but not to any known god. It spoke of the hollowing, a ritual to remove the soul and replace it with obedience. It was the sermon of the Whispering Cloth, a belief system centered around becoming empty, a shell for the hare to inhabit. And the final line, "Let the stuffing fill me, let my eyes go black, let me laugh forever in the dark." SCP-7190 is no longer considered a singular entity. It's a phenomenon, a faith, and it spreads through stories, drawings, dreams, and now through the minds of those who've heard the laughter. Containment efforts have shifted from the physical to the mimetic, but it may already be too late. They don't want to be children anymore. They want to be suits, and they want to be worn. If you heard the laughter, it's already too late, but you can still subscribe before the hollowing reaches you. Click below for more stories from Dead Silence Stories, where silence screams.